Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, September 20th, and I'm your host, Krista McDonald. Each year, the Board of Selectmen receives a donation on behalf of the town from the Ernest and Andrew Bach Memorial Fund. Each year, the money is dispersed by the selectmen to many groups in town. Selectman Chairman Paul Bishop explains more about the fund.
The Bach Fund is a charitable donation from the Bach family itself. Many years ago, Ernie Bach Sr. started by giving a donation of a certain amount of money to the town of Norwood to help out. That was his way of helping the town. Over the years, it's grown, and it's now referred to as the Andrew and Ernest J. Bach Memorial Fund. You know, I say this, and I don't mean disrespect when I say it, but I've always said it helps the little people, the small, independent little groups, the Italian Men's Club. We have the Norwood Memory Cafe, different parent organizations that do very good work out there. For instance, Patty Fanning with the preservation of the Old Parish Cemetery. They don't have a budget, they don't have funding, so they depend on people like the Bach Family Trust to accommodate them. This year we had approximately $55,000 in requests. So there's a lot of people that don't get answered, so to speak. But I try to give it to the people that I feel are most needy. For instance, some of the programs may wish for $1,000, but we try to accommodate as much as possible to that $1,000. It may not be the $1,000, but it may be $700 or $750. That's what we have to do. A little bit here, a little bit there, and hopefully it goes a further distance. We try to accommodate as many as we can, and it's important that we take care of these small groups because they're doing some great work out there. And we want to thank Ernie Bach and his family for what they do every year.
To see the full list of recipients, visit the Town of Norwood's website at www.norwoodma.gov. Back in late August, the Recreation Department completed its first major step in the reconstruction of their gym facility. Recreation Superintendent Travis Farley explains that the process started back at annual town meeting in May.
So this whole process started about last year at town meeting when we allocated the funds to make this project happen and resurface the gym floor. Once the funds were allocated and voted on, we were able to go out to bid about a month ago. And we were able to get this project done in 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of August. But the logic behind it, they say that you should be resurfacing your gym floor every 7 years down to the wood. We're about 20 years due, so we're almost 3 times over where they recommend you should be. So all we really did was just sand all the finish off the wood, bringing it down to the original wood, and then we put a new fresh coat of poly on it, and you can see the end result is a new fresh floor. So it's the first couple events that you'll see at the Recreation Department. Are our top programs. So all of our fall programs started basically right after Norwood, so the second week of September. So a lot of the indoor top programs, some of the after school, middle school, high school basketball are going to see this right away, which is fantastic. And then we've already got a lot of good comments about the condition of the floor and how it looks. So it really pops with the new lights, the LED lights in the gymnasium, with a new floor. It really does pop. People really like it.
Thanks, Travis. We'll check back in a few weeks for the installment of the bleachers. Stay tuned after this break to learn all about the new skating facility being built in Norwood and for this week's Living Local. Welcome back. The construction of the new Skating Club of Boston facility on University Ave is moving right along and is scheduled to open next year. NCM has partnered with the club and we will produce construction updates with exclusive on-site footage. Let's hear from Maureen Rystrom and Jeff Cameron from J. Callan Associates, who are managing the construction, and Doug Zegheib, Executive Director of the Skating Club of Boston.
Doug, can you tell us a little bit about what's happening here today?
Yes, so the Skating Club of Boston is building a 180,000 square foot facility here in Norwood, and it's going to be a training and performance facility primarily for figure skating, but some hockey as well. We're going to be hosting Norwood High School and youth hockey here. And the real idea is to have a recreational and elite level training center for figure skaters from across the country.
Can you talk a little bit about the history of the club and how we ended up here in Norwood?
Sure. So the Skating Club of Boston is a 100-year-old institution, founding member of U.S. Figure Skating, the governing body for the sport in the U.S. Leadership on the ice, off the ice, 145 national champions, 2 Olympic champions, and numerous Olympic medalists and world medalists. And what we are doing now is building a new training facility so that we can support this level of training moving forward. And that's one of the reasons we're excited about being in Norwood, is the town leadership really understood the club when we first approached them, and have really embraced us and what we want to do here from the start, and guided us along the way, offered suggestions through the permitting process, every step of the way. So we really feel welcome, and we're pretty excited about what we're going to be able to do here.
Jeff, what's happening in the next year?
Sure. So in the next month, we'll look at having the topping off of the building. We'll look at putting the last parts of the steel structure up. A month after that, we'll look at enclosing the building. So we'll be putting up the building's facade and the roof structure on in order to be able to get the building enclosed for winter months so that we can actually be building in controlled temperature conditions. And in about 9 months, we'll actually probably be making our first sheet of ice so that we can test out the systems and make sure that everything is working the way that it's been designed.
So clearly there's a lot of exciting stuff happening out here at the Skating Club of Boston, and we're gonna bring all the excitement to you, periodically celebrating different project milestones, including the next one, which is the topping off, which will happen later next month.
This is an exciting project for the town of Norwood, and NCM will be producing additional updates during the construction. If you would like to learn more and also check out their live web cameras, go to thenext100years.org. Who doesn't love new jewelry, especially when it is custom made just for you? Norwood has its own jewelry shop that has been designing beautiful custom made jewelry since the 50s. Let's head down to South Norwood for this week's Living Local.
I'm Sean Keegan. This is Keegan's Jewelers. We're located in South Norwood. We've been here since 1951, me personally since the 80s.
Located on Washington Street, Keegan's Jewelers is Norwood's oldest jewelry store. They offer a wide range of custom-designed jewelry along with a staff of 3 expert jewelers, an appraiser, and a custom-design specialist to assist with all of your fine jewelry needs.
We're a full-line jewelry store. We specialize in custom-made pieces, hard-to-find pieces. If you're looking for something that it's very difficult to match, we basically specialize in that. As far as full-line jewelry store, though, we have everything is diamonds, earrings, bracelets, necklaces, pretty much anything you want in a jewelry store.
Keegan's Jewelers has been providing high-quality jewelry to its customers for over 60 years. Members of the Keegan family have been working there since the beginning.
It started by a gentleman named Peter Gagel. He started it back in 1951. He worked at Polaroid. Actually, maybe it was Raytheon. It was one of the 2 big companies up on Moore Street. And in between doing work there, he would run the jewelry store. My father worked with him and took over the store, and my father, George, actually had the store. It had no sign on it back in the 60s and 70s, and they just all knew him as George the Jeweler. So that's pretty much where it started from. I took it over in the late 80s and kind of brought it to where we are today.
The store didn't always have the Keegan's name.
It was back in the 50s, and Peter never put a sign on the door. And when my dad took it over, he had all the stationery and the name as Norwood Jewelers, but it never had the name on the business. So everyone would say, "Hey, go down and see George the Jeweler." So when he finally put a name on the door, it was George the Jeweler. When I took it over, we have a store down the Cape, and it's called Keegan's Cape Jewelers, and it was just fitting to kind of link the 2 of them together. So we named it Keegan's Norwood Jewelers, and the Falmouth location is Keegan's Cape Jewelers.
The Keegan family has a long history of fishing, starting with Sean's father, George. So when it comes to charity, the family loves to support youth fishing events.
Fishing is in our blood, so any of the fishing the Westwood Fishing Derby for the kids, the Norwood, South Norwood Fishing Derby for the kids, the Norwood Sportsman Club Fishing Derby for kids, and we run one down in the Cape, which is actually next year is going to be 25 years, 25th anniversary of running a derby down there in memory of my father. He passed away 25 years ago this November coming. So that one's a real fun one because we get to bring kids out on a boat and we all, get to see them enjoy themselves, so it's really nice.
If you are interested in learning more about Keegan's Jewelers, stop by their store.
Technology is not me. I'm really not very smart with technology, but I'm sure you can go on the internet. We have a website, Keegan's Jewelers, www.com, Keegan's Jewelers, and you can look us up that way. We've got a lot of nice reviews. Customers seem to like to put nice reviews on there, which is great, and we do fairly well that way.
So if you are in the market for jewelry, you can head down to Keegan's Jewelers for all your needs.
Stay tuned after this break to find out what is happening in your local government.
The Norwood Senior Center's mission is to identify the needs and promote services for older adults. The center is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and during the summer they remain open until 8 p.m. on Tuesday evenings. To contact them, call 781-762-1201 or visit www.norwoodma.gov.
Welcome back to Norwood News. After taking a summer break from their regularly scheduled meetings, the Board of Health reconvened Tuesday morning with a full agenda. The board began the meeting with new business, which included a EEE update, CBD regulation information, a report on the interface service, and Household Hazardous Waste Day.
The $5 per carload is if you have a hazardous waste, correct?
Correct.
Or is it every single car that comes through?
Just for hazardous waste.
Just for hazardous waste.
So if you're just coming in with a TV, you just pay for that TV.
TV.
If you're coming in with TV and pesticides, you're paying $5 for the pesticides and $20 for the TV.
Following the new business, the board received the nurses report and a report from Aubrey Seall of Impact Norwood. The food safety report was presented to the board along with the new food establishment list. This was a lengthy report because they did not meet during the summer months. The next meeting for the Board of Health will be October 22nd. Now that they are on their regular schedule, the Board of Selectmen have started their monthly department update meetings. Tuesday, the board met with James Collins and Daryl Hanson of Norwood Light to receive a report on their summer activity. Mark Ryan represented the DPW with a brief presentation on recycling and how costs have soared in recent years. Mr. Ryan suggests logging on to the DPW website to find out how you can help reduce, reuse, and recycle. The Board of Selectmen were also tasked with taking positions on the special town meeting articles. There was some difference of opinion when the board got to Article 4.
The property located at 289 Walpole Street is the former governor's mansion of Frank Allen, or if you will, the Senecal building. This is brought forth by a private petitioner. This is not a town article.
I think we have enough condos and apartments in Norwood. We have enough. We got to stop. I mean, for crying out loud, we've got to stop. And I just think this is outrageous. I honestly do. That not only are we going to be tied to this one for condos, then if developers want to do it on whatever number, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on, that qualify under this criteria, then they can do it to others. I'm sorry, but I'm totally opposed to this.
But we do have a pretty astute and aggressive planning board whose responsibility it would be to judge the validity and the worthiness of an individual application for a specific property. I think they have to stay within the existing footprint.
To call it historical when you just have a shell there is ludicrous. Yeah. Absolutely ludicrous. I mean, it's like a movie set, for crying out loud. That's what it is. You're going to have fancy granite kitchens and all this stuff in each of these units, et cetera, et cetera. You know?
So you don't think? I mean, but you're taking an older property. In this case, I know, but probably in others they'll be pretty run down, and you're going to restore them to some. You're going to make them livable again with 2, 3, or 4 units within them. I mean,
aren't they living in it now?
To take no position. Do I have a motion to take no position?
Yes, sir.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Sure, second.
And if not, I was going to do it. I have a motion to take no position on Article 4. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
3-1. Passes.
The next Board of Selectmen meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 24th. The Zoning Board of Appeals met as well on Tuesday briefly. With only 3 modification requests, the board held limited discussion on each case and adjourned for the evening. The board will meet again on October 1st. The final meeting of Tuesday night was the first meeting of the Middle School Building Committee, which was held in the library of the Coakley Middle School. The meeting began with Alan Slater being elected as chairman. Following the vote, the committee started discussing the MSBA process.
So we are in Module 1, which is the eligibility period, which is the top of that schematic. We submitted a statement of interest. We were voted into the eligibility period. We have completed the initial compliance. This right here, the second one, is the school building committee. We have assembled members of that, and there are requirements as to what the composition of that committee needs to be. We are in the process of completing our educational profile and enrollment process. We need to certify that. Mr. Cardy is working on the maintenance and capital plan documents. Those are due the end of October. And the last one to the right is what we're going to be asking for at town meeting, which is authorization to fund a feasibility study. So should that happen, then hopefully we will be invited into the scope definition, or the next phase, the feasibility stage, which starts with the project team, starting a feasibility study, and that's where the borrowing of money comes in, schematic design, and then we get to a point, once we have that, we have an approximate cost of what the building would be, and then there would be a vote on that, and then we get into a detailed design, construction, completing the project, and the nice little green rectangle at the end is it being complete and us being able to occupy a building.
The committee went on to discuss the steps needed for a request for qualification, or the RFQ, and then discussed what is to be done with the elementary schools. The board took a vote to include an elementary school principal on the committee. The next meeting for the middle school building committee has not yet been scheduled. With 3 main cases on their agenda, the Conservation Commission met on Wednesday night. The meeting began with 2 notices of intent, one from Clear Channel Outdoors and the second from the Norwood Light Department. Both cases were briefly discussed and accepted. The third case of the night also involved the Light Department. The Commission accepted the sign of Certificate of Compliance. To end the meeting, the Commission gave the Treasurer's report, the Conservation Agent's report, and the CPC Representative's report. The next meeting for the Conservation Commission will be October 2nd. The last meeting of the week was the Finance Commission Thursday night. The board voted to approve Ann Haley as the new chair and Bob Donnelly as the new vice chair. Reports were given from the school committee on department updates, and town manager Tony Mizuko gave a report on the town's roadworks. Much of the meeting was dedicated to discussing the articles for upcoming special town meeting in October. The board voted to approve all money-related articles be put forth to town meeting. For complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government Channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break to find out what is happening in your schools.
Living Local is a new program coming to Norwood Community Media that highlights businesses and events here in Norwood. Everything you need to know about eating local, shopping local, exercising local, or even creating local, you'll find it right here on NCM's newest program, Living Local. You'll get an inside look into what makes each business unique. Only on Norwood Community Media, your home for all things Norwood.
Welcome back. Now we're going to toss it over to our Norwood Schools reporter to recap everything that has happened this week in the Norwood Public School District.
Hi guys, I'm Rory Kerr, and let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. At the Callahan School, students and staff were all smiles as they returned to school after a relaxing summer. Classroom teachers created inviting spaces, and several classrooms have transitioned from traditional desks to tables, allowing for group work and student interaction. Students are given many options when it comes to seating: stools, egg chairs, giant caterpillars, beanbag chairs, child-sized lawn chairs, and even pop-up tents can be seen throughout the school. As you can see, the new tables are getting a thumbs up from the students in Mrs. McAvoy's class. In addition, the PTA held their annual Popsicles in the Park to kick off the new school year. At the Prescott, students have been exploring various technology tools in the McGuire Library with our librarian, Miss Miller, and in their own classrooms. Third graders worked to explore creating illustrations using various online tools, including Google, to demonstrate what they had read and show their creativity. In classrooms, second graders logged into Google Classroom for the first time and began exploring how to collaborate with their teachers. Many of the classes use a variety of mindfulness and exercise resources to help break up the day. First grade students got moving with Zen Den, where they had to do things like stretch, run in place, and do some cool yoga poses. Teachers also utilized Go Noodle to get up and get active and take a nice break during the day. Students are able to dance along to popular songs and get their energy out. In high school news, the guidance department is having their senior college planning night on Wednesday, September 25th at 6:30 p.m. in the auditorium. All seniors and their parents or guardians are invited to attend senior college planning night. The guidance staff will provide an overview of the college application and admission process and answer any questions you may have. At the Coakley Middle School, Positive Sign Thursday is back, and the students were feeling fantastic as they get ready to start their day. And speaking of signs, there is a great new sign at CMS. The first thing you see when you walk into the school is the new Mustang Pride banner. There's also a new sign in the gym that reinforces Mustang Pride. Thank you to Light Touch for providing the gym banner. At the Cleveland School, Dots took over in celebration of International Dot Day. Dot Day reminds us to be creative, take risks, and let our imaginations go wild. International Dot Day is based on the Peter Reynolds book The Dot, which is the story of a caring teacher who dares a doubting student to trust in her own abilities by being brave enough to make her mark. What begins with a small dot on a piece of paper becomes a breakthrough in confidence and courage, igniting a journey of self-discovery and sharing, which has gone on to inspire countless children and adults around the globe. As you can see, the Cleveland School went all out and the Dots took over the school. Great job, Cleveland School. The Oldham School has a new addition to their playground and all the students are loving it. Let's hear from Principal Bob Griffin.
As you can see behind me here at the Oldham School, a beautiful extension has been added to our playground equipment. It took 2 years of fundraising to be able to fund this project, spearheaded by Katie Neal Rizzo, Jen Carey, and Christine Carey, mothers at the Oldham. They thank the Oldham community, the PTO, the TD Bank, Hartley Graymont Company, the Christopher Catney's Children's Foundation, and Paul Riccardi and his grounds crew for all of the work that they did to make this possible. The kids are enjoying it, and it's a beautiful addition to our playground.
Watching those students play at the Oldham makes me miss my recess days. Well, that's it for school news. For more information about the Norwood school system, please check the website, Facebook, and watch NCM. Now let's go to Brian Dunn for the latest sports news.
Erin Reen, Alexa. And that's your ball game. So the Mustangs with a very strong game number 3. It was a very evenly matched game number 3.
What you just saw there was a straight set victory for the Mustang volleyball team against Dedham this past Monday night. And that is how we begin our sports update for this week. My name is Brian Dunn, and as mentioned, volleyball kicked off the week with a great team ball win secured over Dedham this past Monday. Let's hear from Coach Nimblett and the captains for their thoughts on Monday's W.
We're down 2 players right now, me and another one of our taller players.
Megan Oldie.
So I think it was really nice to have some of the other girls step up and bring what they had to the court, and I think that really contributed to most of our points.
One of the big things I said before today's match is success comes when opportunity and preparedness meet, and the girls were prepared. We had a lot of girls step up. Kimmy Hanoyan changed positions today to be a right side hitter. Diana stepped in the middle. So I think it was as a collective group, we fended them off at the end because we wanted to push points and we wanted to take care of that set and not let them get in momentum and go 4 sets.
a big thing was our energy today was like really high since we just played Dedham and we got a W. So I think our energy was already high and we wanted to beat them again.
And also today we played really smart, like we were looking for the openings, so we were playing really smart compared to the last game. So that definitely helped us take the win.
Checking out the rest of the scores, boys and girls soccer loses to Hopkinton on the road, and golf was just edged out in a tri-match against Holliston and Ashland over at Pinecrest Golf Club. Wednesday was busy. Boys cross country secures a narrow 29-28 victory, with Paul Forrest and Kevin Sisk leading the way. Girls did not win overall, but Olivia Baudette picks up right where she leaves off, setting the Coakley Middle School course record. Field hockey had a successful week as they secure a 5-2 victory over Tri-Valley opponent Hopkinton. And rounding out the week in sports, boys and girls soccer both lose to Ashland, the boys 2-1 and the girls 4-2. And that'll do it for scoring updates this week. However, it wasn't all that bad for the golf team. Not a bad day of practice when you find Red Sox outfielder Andrew Benintendi on the course. The team took some photos with the Major Leaguer earlier this week. We do not know what Benny shot that day. We'll let him share that info. And a reminder before I leave you, football's home opener is this weekend. Saturday, September 21st at 1 p.m. is kickoff between Norwood and Medway. If you can't make it, make sure to watch it live on the NCM Community Channel or stream it at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. I'll talk to you next week, and don't go anywhere because you're not going to want to miss what Kristen has in store for you.
Thanks, Brian. If you think old age is going to stop you from having a good time, think again. Friday morning, the Senior Center held a 90s and older party as part of a celebration for one of their members who is 106 years old.
Every other year, the Norwood Senior Center celebrates all the residents in Norwood that are turning 90 or are older. And we have a luncheon for them with some entertainment. Each time we have a party, we present the Boston cane to the oldest resident. Our oldest resident here in Norwood is 106 years old. His name is Fred Blizzard. He unfortunately can't be here today, but I will go visit him next week, and we will present him with a Boston cane pin, and we'll take his picture, and it will be with the original Boston cane, which is located up at the town hall, and it's been there since the early 1900s.
Kerry and the Council on Aging and the Selectmen, you heard from Paul Bishop here, and all the members of the Board of Selectmen have made it a top priority here in Norwood for many, many years to make sure that our seniors are honored and revered for all that they have done in making Norwood such an outstanding town.
Just a reminder that next Saturday, September 28th, the town is hosting Hazardous Waste Day at the Winter Street Recycling Facility. It is a rain or shine event from 8 to 11 a.m. Proof of residency is required, and the cost is $5 per carload of hazardous waste, and there are additional fees for electronics and appliances. This is a very popular event, so get there early. Cars that arrive after the 11 a.m. cutoff will not be accepted. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.